Hurricane Ian is currently forming across the Western Caribbean as we speak. I will break down its track, its intensity, and its impacts to the southeast and Florida through the week ahead. And later on in this video, I will be tracking our first frost and freeze conditions across the Great Lakes through the week as well, and looking at the long-range weather forecast into early October, which brings a promising warm-up across the western and central United States into the first and second week of October. Welcome back to another Weather on the Go weather forecast, where you get all your weather coverage. If you guys are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast information updates here on this channel. Looking here this morning, I want to know, are you guys in the path of Hurricane Ian? If so, what are you doing to prepare? Are you evacuating? Are you hunkering down here? Are you boarding up the windows? What are you doing to prepare for Hurricane Ian? If you live in Florida, if you live in Georgia, the Southeast, what are you doing to prepare? I want to know in the comment section down below here on this video. Definitely much appreciated. Looking currently here at the visible water vapor imagery of the southeastern United States and the Gulf of Mexico here, you can see down in the Western Caribbean, that's where Ian is starting to form and is starting to become a little bit more intense. As it does so, it's getting a little bit more organized across the Western Caribbean here. Looking at the infrared satellite imagery, you can definitely see those overshooting tops of those updrafts here. And this system, you could definitely tell it's eastern loaded. The eastern side of the system has a lot more convection and thunderstorm activity. So this system is starting to kind of make a little bit more organization toward itself, and this will become a hurricane in short order as we head through the day today. Looking already across western Cuba into the United States as well as the Cayman Islands, we have alerts here in the red shaded alerts across western portions of Cuba. Getting up toward the Cayman Islands, we actually have hurricane warnings ongoing. Central Cuba, we have tropical storm warnings, and into portions of southwestern Florida, we actually have tropical storm watches. But in Key West, the Key West area in Florida, we actually have tropical storm warnings in those blue areas up into Key West. So that will be something to watch as we head through the next few days. Looking at the overall track, this is the National Hurricane Center's cone of uncertainty, and it looks to become a major hurricane as early as Tuesday morning. So this will rapidly intensify as it moves towards western Cuba. And once it moves back over the waters of the eastern Gulf of Mexico and just to the west of Florida, this is set to become a Category 4 hurricane with a major hurricane status as we get into Wednesday, before it looks to make landfall sometime Wednesday night or Thursday night here. It's a little bit uncertain whether or not it's going to make landfall in western Florida or in northwestern Florida, and we'll break that down for you guys here right now. So looking currently at the surface, the sea surface temperatures across the Caribbean, the Gulf, and the western Atlantic here. Looking first at the Caribbean, where the storm is now, there's a lot of warmer waters. You have 30, 31, even 32 degrees Celsius sea surface temperatures, and that equates to around 86 to near 90 degrees Fahrenheit water temperatures here at the surface, just to the south of Cuba, to the west of Cuba, and all the way up towards Key West, Florida. So very much so, this system is going to be moving into an environment, and is already in an environment favorable for development, with low shear and a lot of warm sea surface temperatures. So this is going to impact its intensity. So looking at its intensity as we head through the next 36 to 72 hours, it's going to quickly spike to a Category 3, which would be a major hurricane, and then looking to spike into a Category 4 strength within the next 36 to 48 hours here, the next couple of days. Again, as it moves over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, I do expect a Category 4 hurricane just to the west of Florida. And what is kind of steering this system is this upper level trough up across the Great Lakes in the northeast. And why this is important is because as this trough dives southward toward the southeastern United States, as far as it goes to the south, we'll start to steer this system either farther to the north and east, or if this trough stays a little bit farther north than some of the models do indicate, which is very well possible, this storm could go a little farther just straight north instead of turning northeast. So that is something to kind of watch as we head through the next couple of days. So let's let's go over here the European high resolution forecast guidance here and kind of show you what the models are showing. We're going to show you the European forecast model and then the GFS model, which is the American model, to kind of show you what we can expect with this system's track. So looking here this afternoon, this is an eastern loaded storm. We have the strongest winds, the strongest rain bands, and the heaviest weather just to the east of the eye wall here as we head into portions of western Cuba and really toward the Cayman Islands later on this afternoon and tonight. And looking at this into tomorrow as we get into Tuesday, this will move over western Cuba and back over the Gulf of Mexico, and it's open weather for a strengthening eye wall, and this will quickly deep into a Category 4 system with, again, an eastern loaded storm. The strongest of the winds will be on the eastern side of the storm. The strongest rain bands and the highest impacts will also be on the eastern side. We could also have some tornadoes potentially across western Cuba we may have to watch as we head into Tuesday. But as it moves into midweek towards Wednesday here, there are some differences that I'm still looking at here. So let's kind of break down those differences for you. We have the storm eye wall here moving just offshore here of probably around the Tampa, Fort Myers, and Naples, Florida, just to the west by maybe about 50 to up to 100 miles to the west, potentially on the European forecast model on Wednesday. Now, in comparison, the GFS is a little bit farther offshore, probably by about a couple hundred miles here to the west, and that makes all of the difference here of where we see the strongest of the winds. Will the strongest of the winds be up towards Tampa, Fort Myers, and Naples, or will we see the strongest winds a little bit offshore here, which is definitely still possible? The GFS takes it a little bit straight north, where the European starts to curve it here, and it all has to do with that trough I was showing you across the upper Great Lakes, diving south toward the southeastern United States. Also, what we're tracking here as well is the precipitable water values. We're going to have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere here into Florida and the southeastern United States, a very strong system here. And again, it's eastern loaded, so we're going to have a lot of rain bands moving up into Florida here, some very heavy and flooding tropical rains across this area. And you can definitely see that within the next 120 hours, ending on Friday night, we could be talking about multiple inches of rainfall across Florida. And this could be a little conservative, guys. Some of the forecast guidance here is showing potentially up to 20 inches of rain as we head through the end of the week. So again, take this with a grain of salt right now, but looking here, these are some fairly high averages right now, around 6 to 9 inches, maybe 10 inches of rain on here. But again, this may be conservative, so definitely something to watch as we head through the rest of this week. And with the heavy rainfall, it's no surprise the Weather Prediction Center's Day 2 excessive rainfall outlook does show a marginal risk of 5 to 10% chance of some isolated flash flooding across the Miami Beach area, Key West, and getting up toward the Naples area as we head into our Tuesday tomorrow. And then as we move into Wednesday, this is where it gets pretty interesting here. Into Tuesday into Wednesday, we're going to be seeing a slight risk for excessive rainfall across south central Florida, including the Fort Myers, Tampa, Naples area, Key West, all the way over towards Miami Beach area as we head into your Tuesday and even into Wednesday. I do fully expect this to be upgraded to a moderate risk as we see all those heavier rain bands move inland, so definitely something to watch. But this is your Day 3 excessive rainfall outlook. And also another hazard is going to be tornadoes with this system. Again, the eastern side of these systems do often bring tornadoes, especially Category 4 hurricanes. And the Storm Prediction Center actually hoists a marginal to slight risk of severe weather, including tornadoes across south central Florida, especially southwestern Florida, Key West, Fort Myers, Naples, maybe up toward the Tampa Bay area as we head into your Tuesday. It does have a 2 to 5% shading of tornadoes on the eastern side of the system. So again, impacts will be felt all across Florida here. It's not just going to be the areas within the cone. You still will have impacts across Miami Beach. So just because you're not under the eye wall, don't get caught up on the eye wall and where the eye of the hurricane, makes landfall. Definitely want to keep an eye on this whole entire system across the southeast, because not only will this affect Florida, this will start to move northeast as well and northward towards Georgia and the southeast. So that is something to watch as well with this tornado risk into next week. And looking at this here, this will migrate a little farther north across central and eventually northern Florida on your Wednesday with a slight risk for severe weather. And again, probably another 2 to 5% shading of tornadoes across this area as we head in towards the middle of the week. And again, speaking of the migration of the storm, it's going to turn eventually to the northeast, and where that turn does occur is important. But looking here at the Weather Prediction Center's forecast for the next 120 hours, ending late on Friday evening, we're going to be seeing rainfall amounts potentially up to Atlanta, Georgia, approaching 2 inches here currently. The Columbia, South Carolina area, about 2.5 inches. Charleston, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, these areas could be approaching 5 inches of rain locally here and respectively across the coast there, and maybe getting to the outer banks of the North Carolina areas as well. We could be seeing multiple inches of rain with 2 to 4 inches of rain possible there towards the end of the week. Now we're going to turn our attention here to the trough, because the trough is not only going to be steering the storm, but it's also going to be bringing impacts underneath the trough across the upper Great Lakes region. And looking at this here, the climatological date of our first freeze of 32 degrees Fahrenheit or colder is usually around this same time of year here, getting towards the very end of September here in the lighter blues. In the darker greens here, we have around October 1st to the 10th time frame, and really toward the middle of October down toward the Tennessee Valley, Missouri Valley, and Ohio Valley area. So right on par of what we expect for freezes and frosts are expected here underneath this trough as we move through the middle of this week. You can definitely see all the blues and purples here across the Great Lakes, and underneath that, we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of cooler weather that extends into the middle and late portion of the week. And yeah, to the west, we got a lot of that ridging here with high pressure extending all the way up into central Canada, places like Saskatchewan, Alberta, even Manitoba. We could be well above normal here with about 20 degrees above normal across some of those areas as we get towards the middle of the week. So looking at your temperatures here in the United States for Monday, September 26th for today, we have temperatures rising here across the west. Again, we got that ridge of high pressure, some warmer weather here across the Great Plains and westward toward the Rockies. But underneath this trough, we're going to have high temperatures in the 50s across portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and all the way across portions of the interior New England. And looking at your Tuesday, September 27th, tomorrow, we'll see even more cooler weather dip a little bit farther to the south towards the Ohio Valley, the Appalachian chain here, and over towards New England, with more temperatures getting farther down into the 50s, maybe, just maybe, a couple areas into the upper peninsula and the UP of Michigan, only seeing highs in the upper 40s as we head into your Tuesday. And that will provide for a cooler, nighttime low as well as we get into your Tuesday night. Nighttime lows across the Arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan there. We could be seeing lows in the middle and upper 30s with some patchy frost possible across those areas then. And as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we could see more widespread frost, if not hard freezes, across portions of the northwoods of Wisconsin, northern lower Michigan, and the upper peninsula of Michigan, and probably into portions of Ontario and Quebec, Canada as well as we head into your Thursday morning. So that will be something to watch. But looking longer range here for the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center, going all the way through here from October 1st through October 5th, we expect above normal temperatures across much of the Great Plains and the Rockies, really mainly west of the Mississippi River during that period, near normal to slightly below normal temperatures across the entirety of the eastern seaboard here with that system and with that trough lingering around in the first couple of days there of October. But as that moves out, as that trough pushes off the east coast, we're going to see that ridge start to move its way to the east as well as we get towards the 9th time frame here of October, with above normal temperatures favored across much of the Great Plains, really centered across North Texas, the Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas during that period. But we'll still have some above normal temperatures across portions of the northern plains up toward the Dakotas and Minnesota as we get into that time frame as well. So let's kind of track that here. As that trough continues to move off to the east here, it's going to start to lose its punch across the northeast, and we're going to start to see more of this return flow and kind of more Pacific air move in across the western and central United States in towards the very end here of September and moving into towards that first week of October, with more zonal flow in the jet stream across much of the central and western United States. States. That will more or less continue into the first couple of days, like I said, of October. We will eventually, however, start to see more troughs emerge across the Aleutian Islands, and at times here diving southward towards the Pacific Northwest and the northern plains, but it does not appear too significant. All these troughs starting to develop here. You see one developing here and the dip in the jet stream across the northern plains. Doesn't look too significant. We don't see those deeper blues. We do see a more significant trough trying to dive down across the Aleutian Islands. That could be our next storm system we might have to watch for Western Canada and the Pacific Northwest as we get into the second week in October, but that will be something to watch a little bit farther out. But looking here from October 1st through October 5th, we see a lot of below normal precipitation across the center of the country from Texas to the Missouri Valley and the Great Lakes, slightly above normal precipitation across portions of western Colorado, Utah, getting down there towards northeastern Arizona and northwestern New Mexico. Again, much above normal precipitation across the eastern seaboard here along the I-95 corridor from Boston to New York City, getting down to the outer banks here of Virginia, the Carolinas here. That is in association with Hurricane Ian, which by that time will be a tropical depression or post-tropical cyclone, but still dropping a lot of heavy rainfall. But then as we get all the way through the 9th time frame here of October, getting in towards that second week of October, we still will have below normal precipitation from Texas to the Tennessee, Ohio valleys, and Missouri valleys, and really all the way up toward the international border there towards Canada and the United States as well. And this is not good news because we still have a lot of drought here across portions of the Great Plains and the West. We still have multiple areas still needing a lot of rainfall here. We got, severe, extreme, and exceptional drought still hanging around across these areas, and it doesn't look to go anywhere anytime soon. We will be adding to this here and probably, expanding some of this drought as we head into the early portion of October. So that will be something to watch as we get in towards that time frame. Looking, however, over the next 7 days, like I said, with that drought in place, it's not good news that we see a very dry pattern emerging across the central and western United States. Sure, we may have some monsoonal moisture moving up across western Mexico into the southwestern United States at times, but again, it's not going to be as prolific as what we have seen in the past into July and August. So we're going to see lighter amounts there. Again, a lot of the heavier rainfall will be steered with this system, which is Hurricane Ian, across portions of Florida and the southeastern United States as we go through the next 7 days. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely much appreciated. Remember to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below to look at those later on today. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Thank you to all the new subscribers out there helping to grow this community, grow this channel. Definitely much appreciated, guys. Stay safe from Hurricane Ian and all that severe weather. And again, enjoy the fall weather out there with fall starting here on past Thursday. We got a lot of fall weather with fall temperatures and some cooler weather across the Great Lakes. Possibly our first frost and freeze of the season. Enjoy that. Have a great Monday, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video.